What is going on? Actually, I was about to say you have reached Anthony, like as a voicemail. I almost messed that up completely. So, what I'm going to say is, what's going on, everybody? You're watching Talking with the Source. My name's AJ Capasso, host and founder. Go ahead, my friend.
It's Robin from Hopper and
Oh,
Paranormal and Talking with the Source.
See, I totally messed it up, but you came back and you made it official, so that worked out. I don't know why I had a brain fart.
It takes the UK, you see, to keep propping America up. That's what it is.
I get, that's true. I guess that's true, But anyway, first thing I just want to do is I just want to give one shout out, and it's to the Global Ghost Hunt. I want to shout out to the Global Ghost Hunt real quick. The May event is about to be starting. So head over to www.globalghosthunt.com. Get all the information, register your team. We have May coming up. We have slots available still. So hurry up and get in for May. If not, we have October still. So get in for October. Get your team registered, yourself registered, and just go there and check out all the information and all the amazing places and locations. But listen, we have an awesome guest tonight, and I've been looking forward to this for so long because Jay has been a good friend of mine, and I wanted to bring him on. I can't wait to bring him on. So, ladies and gentlemen, psychic medium, paranormal researcher, and podcast host of Studio 6 Paranormal Entertainment, J.D. Hill.
What's up, brothers? What's up?
Jay.
Hey guys. Thanks for having me. I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Not a problem.
So tell me, how's the weather out there?
Cold, snowy,
cold,
crappy.
Yep. I feel you out here, man. I mean, it's a little warm today out here, but it's still cold for me.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, it sucks out here.
Yeah, I feel you. I one thing I wanted to ask you to start it off, and it's kind of like a repeating question that I always ask all the guests. But how did you get into this whole paranormal field before you figured out your gift, or if your gift, came with everything, and that's how you got into this field? Whatever it was, let us know.
Well, actually, it's been that way since birth, pretty much. I mean, I've always had the paranormal around me. It didn't really start big time until I was in my teenage years, and where I saw my first full body apparition. And every place I pretty much lived in had something in it, and they were attracted to me, and I kind of just didn't know how to deal with it. I was into it, but I was more into just partying and doing whatever. And as I got older, I was still, just trying to run away from my gifts and not realizing what I could see and why I see it and all that stuff. So I just basically kind of just, drank my sorrows and my fears away until one day I had a stroke, and things changed after that. I quit everything and I started focusing on myself and started focusing on my family. And I have a great woman next to me, my wife, and she was there from the beginning. And then my gifts kind of just started to really open up a little bit more when I finally cleared my head, and then I've just been in it since the last probably, 5-10 years, but mostly in the last 5, I would say.
Wow.
Yeah.
Tell me, what does your wife think of it?
She's not a firm believer in any of it, but out of respect, then she knows this is what I'm, doing right now, and so
Yep.
she respects that. So,
That's awesome. That is
hmm
awesome.
Yeah, I was in the exact same boat. I wouldn't
yeah,
worry about that.
right, yeah. You just got to
So it just,
take it as it goes.
yeah, it just seems funny though that no matter who we have on here and who we talk to, it's always the same thing. There's always, there's not someone that says from day dot, from what I can remember, I just believed in it. I just looked into it. There's always some kind of life event that seems to trigger this.
Yeah, yeah,
You
and that
know,
did, yeah, and that actually kind of put me over that threshold, and it was kind of like, I had experiences when I was younger and some crazy experiences, but the paranormal has always followed me since I can remember, and so that's why my first book that I ever read in second grade was Ghosts by Daniel Cohen, and it had a blue cover. I remember it to this day, and that's basically I was 9, 10 years old, and I was like I was in it to win it then, but
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
so yeah,
That is that. I mean that's awesome.
yeah.
That's completely awesome. I mean, to tell me what like the work. Well, what is it that you want to get long goal, or like long term, out of this field?
Well, my main goal is I want to be able to help as many people as I can, kind of instruct them and educate them on mediumship and the paranormal and kind of what to do and what not to do, and you know um, the respect aspects of things, and just basically just help as many people as I can. I mean, it's
Yeah,
just I think that the paranormal field, since it being such a spiritual field in itself, it's the best place that I can exercise my gifts.
absolutely, absolutely. And I want to dive into your gifts. Can you explain what your gifts entail?
It's probably a little bit of everything. I'm clairvoyant. I see images, pictures. Usually, um, I do psychometry as well. I can hold objects. Um, Mediumship, I can communicate with deceased loved ones, or just kind of a whole gamut of everything. And I love every minute of it. I wouldn't trade it for the world. A lot of people say that it's scary, or I don't know how people like you could live that way, and it's something that's a normalcy for me. I just kind of just do it.
Yeah,
But yeah. So I mean, I usually when I do my show on Studio Six, I have a tendency to inadvertently read my guests, and it just kind of comes across as, and I have to kind of ask them if it's okay, but yeah, it's just things just happen.
yeah,
I don't have that. It's not really like an on and off switch. It's just one of those things where it just happens. So
absolutely, absolutely. Greg Koss, we just want to say hello to you real quick. We want to say hi to
hey,
Brian Laverty.
hey Brian, I just talked to him yesterday.
Oh yeah, I feel bad for you. No,
Yeah.
I'm just joking. I'm just joking.
No,
Um,
and since Brian is in the chats, um, I think I talked to him yesterday, the day before, maybe it was yesterday, but he's Brian. He's awesome, but he's still Canadian. So
yeah, yeah. Oh, that's great. No, no, he's awesome.
I'm staying out of
uh,
that one.
yeah.
Now, now,
I'm
one
going to
thing I
sit
want.
here in the UK and stay out of that one.
Right.
Now,
2 days ago. Yeah.
if any people watching have any questions about Jay's gifts, please put it in the comments and we will put it on the screen for you. But one thing I wanted to ask you, Jay, is can you explain a little bit about like, can you turn it on and off? Is that what you said, or no? You
Um,
can't.
I not in a sense I can and I can't. You know what I mean? If it's something that's
Okay.
pertinent that needs to come through, regardless if I kind of have that kind of shut off, or I'm not in that mode, or I'm doing something completely different.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, there's been times where I'll be doing something completely different, and then all of a sudden I'll get a message. You know what I mean? So
Nice.
yeah, um, a lot of it has to do with just um, the timing of or the place of where I'm at. You know what I mean? Or who I'm talking to. You know,
Absolutely.
so
Absolutely. Yeah. Now, question: do you think that anybody can become a medium?
I think everybody has the potential to have gifts, depending on their frequency of what how they live their life and how they take care of themselves. I think that
Mm.
everybody's able to have a gift of some type. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So
There's an
I think
issue here. There's a
what's
slight
that?
issue. Brian's just put on here on a serious note. Can I ask a question? Brian,
Yeah,
I'm being serious. There's an issue here.
yeah.
Go ahead, Brian.
Go ahead, Brian. So
Do
yeah,
do
so
do do. Sorry.
yeah, yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah. So basically, with me, I think it's more of an acceptance that I when I'm prompted to answer a question regarding my mediumship, or even when I'm helping somebody or whatever, it's just one of those things.
All right.
Oh,
Brian said, when we talk today, do you pick up anything?
um, to be honest with you, Brian, I haven't really looked into you that much. Um, yeah, usually yeah, for some reason with your frequency, it's kind of when we're talking about something specific. And so you kind of have Brian has a guard up. He's very protected in that sense where he guards himself. So
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to give you that reading. But there can be a time where, if you're ever when you're open to it, I had no problem with giving you a reading, you know.
It's crazy because my medium that I work with, who's like a very serious one, like I was telling you, Jay,
Mhm.
she literally like said the same thing. Once that person puts a wall up, it's hard. It's like not
Yeah.
even worth doing the
Mhm.
reading because like they're just gonna block all the energy.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Well, because Brian is very detail orientated, you know what I mean? I mean, he's
Yep.
very um he's on a quest all the time. I mean, that's just the way I look at it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, he's on
I
a
mean,
quest. So
I
so
mean,
a lot of that, if there's somebody that is trying to come through, through him, or they wants to talk to me or whatever, it's kind of like they have to get Brian to stop and stand still a minute so that that message can come through. But he's so go 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 all the time that that's just what you get when you talk to him. And so
yeah. Well, listen, I wanted to ask you about the third eye.
yeah.
Do you have to open the third eye for you to become a medium, or is there a way not to and tap into energy? Because I've opened my third eye through binaural beats, and I tell you, when I did that, things have like been crazy. And I
Right.
wanted to ask you a question on it. So, can you
Okay.
speak a little bit about it?
Yeah. Well, the third eye, that goes back to that old Spider-Man adage in that movie. With you know, was that great power comes great responsibility.
Yep.
You have to be able to, if you're going to open your third eye, if you're going to practice that, and so that you can enhance your gifts, you want to be responsible in that and take the safeguards to do so, so that you're not, like you said, kind of like all over the place. And
Yeah.
things kind of get crazy. There's ways
Yeah.
and there's methods to kind of control that or hold that at bay of what you need to do. You know what I mean? So exercising your third eye would basically be like you said, with the music or the beats or meditation and things like that, so that you can try to control that. Meditation is one of the biggest things that I try to preach to people, especially when they're experiencing or they're exercising their gifts, is that you need that control, because if you aren't able to control that gift, it could seem like chaos, and people get really confused, and then they give up early. They don't want to do it anymore. It's too much. But there has to be some type of responsibility to, exercise, take care of yourself in that way.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
there has to be some structure. It can't just be, you know, willy
Yeah.
nilly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
It's like working a muscle. Like you go to
yeah.
the gym, you work a muscle. So like
Hmm.
same thing, you're working that muscle.
Right. Right. You
Yeah.
don't do a bunch of work, lifting stuff at work without, knowing that you should be probably exercising so that you can lift those extra 35 pounds. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Or, so you don't want to put
Absolutely.
yourself, you don't want to put yourself out there in a way where it could cause you damage or cause you harm or cause another, uh, like your ability to read people. Like if you could get different messages and they can be like a puzzle and they be all jumbled up and it's
Yeah.
not. There has to be some type of structure.
Yeah.
People can't just say, "Oh, wake up one morning and say, oh, I'm a medium." It's like it takes work. It takes, for me, it took a mentor. It took somebody to confide in. It started, I had to be able to exercise my spiritual gifts with other people, and
Yep.
it doesn't always. It just doesn't just turn on like that. You know what I mean? If you've never had those experiences, if you've never experienced being a medium or anything like that, you can't just say, "Oh, I'm a medium today." And there's too many of those. I would say people that just, "Oh, I want to be a medium, so I call myself that now." And it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
Either you are or you're not. Or if you are, you want to be, you have to do the exercises, you have to do the practice, you have to do the work to get into it, to actually appreciate what that gift, because it is a gift. It's just
Yeah.
that. It's a gift.
And it could take years to develop.
It could very well take years for people. I mean, it's taken. I've always been this way, but it's only been in the last, I would say, 3-4 years that I've actually exercised myself spiritually more so. I'm more of a, since I've had this pretty much my whole life. It's kind of like dusting off books,
Yeah.
like opening a.
There's a lot of
Oh,
responsibility in there, put it that
oh
way.
yeah. Mhm.
Because I know I can't do all of it. I can do bits of it, but I know even with that, the
Right.
first thing you think of when you realize what you can do, the first thing that's in your head is, I need to take care of this. I need to
Yes.
be responsible with this.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So
Yeah. There's a lot of people out there that, you know, the problem I have, Brian says the problem I can never turn it off when I see. Well, and that's part of Brian. That's part of your makeup, Brian. That's kind of who you are. Like I said, you're always on the go. Um,
Yeah.
sometimes my best advice for Brian in that sense is just to slow down and stop and kind of take a breath. I mean, being in the paranormal field for me is it's a lot of go 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 and a lot of excitement with this or excitement, but you've got to be able to be responsible to your own spiritual ability, and even if you're just doing that, that'll help you to flourish in other areas too. You know what I mean? So that's
Yeah.
just, yeah. I try not to get caught up in a lot of the drama of everything and Facebook and all that stuff, just because of the fact that it's just it brings my energy down, and I don't want to engage in that. You know what I mean? So that's part of taking care of yourself and being responsible for yourself. You're not only responsible, you have responsibility to yourself, but you also have responsibility to the other people that you're reading for. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Or the people that you're getting involved with, or that you're investigating with. I mean, that's it. It's not just. It's something important.
Now, now, Jay, not to cut you off, but like, when did you realize that you had this ability, like for, like this strong of an ability? Like, when did you realize this?
I knew this when I was in my 20s. I had visited, or actually, I moved into. Well, I was with moving into an upstairs apartment
Hmm.
with this girl, and knowing that my gifts, knowing that I was still experiencing more things. When negative entities or residual or something like that is really thick in a location, my gifts kind of and heighten. And so we went to go look at this place to rent, and it was the only red house on the block. and it was so old that in order to open or to like get it to the upstairs, they had an old bell that they would chime.
Wow.
You have to turn the dial and it would make a like a chime noise. You know,
Wow.
like on a bicycle.
Yep.
That was the doornail. That was the doorknob and
Wow.
the doorbell. So when I walked in there, I immediately had sensed there was more than one spirit there, and there was some negative entities there. I just was kind of ignoring it. I went into one room, and that's when I had a flash of a young girl hiding in the closet, covered in blood, and I was like, "What do I do with that?" You know, I was like 25, and I didn't know,
Yeah.
how to deal with that. But then as time went on, I experienced other things like being in the bathroom. I was taking this small bathroom had a shower, and the door was right next to the shower. And at that time, I heard the door open, saw a silhouette of somebody walk in. At that time, I thought it was my girlfriend, and I'm talking like she was in there, and I didn't hear a reply. And so I got done, and I went out, and I was like, okay, there was nobody in there. So when I went out into the bathroom, she come walking up the stairs, and I said, I was talking to you. And she said, what? And I said, you were just in the bathroom. I said, I heard you come in. She's like, I just got home from work. I'm like, oh, okay. So that was my first inclination. I would say, okay, there's somebody being active in here. And then I would sit in the living room, watch TV, and the old I have eyes on me type thing. Somebody's sitting behind me.
Yeah.
You know, when we were breaking up, I actually got to we had two bedrooms, and so we were sleeping in separate rooms. And that's when I had got pulled off the bed. I got sat on, and um, that's when I heard growling and somebody saying "I own you" and the whole 9 yards. I mean
Oh my gosh.
that was my first experience with a really negative entity that had the ability to do that.
Wow, man.
And so probably days after that, then I moved out. I said I'm done.
Yeah, I mean, I would
You
have
know,
too.
so I've had that experience where people say, "Have you been touched? Have you been scratched?" I said, "I've been all of it." But
Now, do you think that having your ability is like having a white light in a
yes,
dark room?
yes. Oh yeah, they see that white light, and they want a negative entity, or and I use this term lightly because I'm not like a demon aspect of it. You know what I mean? Um,
Yeah.
I call it the dark side, would basically want to extinguish that because of the fact that it affects them negatively in a way where the frequency is different. And so they want to extinguish that. It's like somebody going into a lighted room with too much lights and they want somebody to shut it off. Okay, it affects them that way.
Okay.
So
Yep, I understand what you're saying. I always ask people what books they think are most helpful to enhance abilities. Any authors or people you recommend?
um, yes, um, I just read this book. What was her name? Now I can't even remember anybody's name. Yeah. I'll have to get back to you on that one. I'll have to think about it because I can't remember. I'll have to look
No
because
worries. No worries.
there's been a couple books that I do read and that I have read in the past that I really liked and I'm a fan of. So
Well, what we will do is you can actually post it on the Talking with the Source website whenever you find it, and then you could post it there for her to see.
mhm. Yeah, there was I think there was one that I just read recently and it really kind of it moved me to the point where like John Edwards. I've read a couple of his books. I recommend him. He's really good too. Um, but there's been a couple books that just when you pick up a book when somebody's looking to read about the mediumship and stuff like that, go with your intuition. I mean, I can recommend books all day, but if it's
Yeah,
something that speaks to you, If
Yep.
you're trying to exercise your intuition, and yeah, go with your intuition. Go with something that you pick something up and you're like, you know what, I think I really need to read this. Then that's what you should go
See, that's very smart. That's what I do. I try to, I get signs and I follow those signs to the core.
for. Yep.
You see, I don't do a lot of reading myself. I do what I do read up on. I read online. I don't actually do a lot of reading of books because I get bored very quickly with books.
Yeah, I
But
usually listen to audiobooks. Tyler Henry is another good one. I like
yeah,
him. Um,
yeah, absolutely, yeah. But
so Renee Russo is another one that I like a lot. She had a show on A&E, I think,
Yep.
and that was pretty good. So there's quite a few. I mean, it's kind of like a dime a dozen, but it's go with your intuition. You pick up a book if you're looking for something and saying that really looks like I should read that, then read it.
Sorry about that, guys.
That's all right.
I don't know what happened. What's up, Map Aaron? How are you? Thank you. Appreciate you for sharing.
No, thank you very much.
So yeah, man. I tell you what. Can you explain like what it's like having these abilities? Like, what are like some of the ways you get answers? Like, I know you said it before. You said you get symbols. You get tell me, do you ever see them like physically?
I have um, a couple times. Usually, right. Usually, I get my like messages or like pictures or something that somebody that's trying to give me a message for something. Usually right before I go to sleep,
Okay.
or I'll get it right after I fall asleep.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, usually I just if it's something that I'm going to be coming up, working on, or if there's somebody's going to contact me that I wasn't expecting. I have my buddy Josh Hughes, who's my camera guy that we go on walkthroughs in haunted locations.
Yeah.
If he's working on something, um, and he hasn't told me because he doesn't tell me because he wants me to verify everything. So I usually get these messages or these images a couple days or a week ahead of time. And if it's something that's a constant, I'll log it into my brain. I'll remember it, and then I will contact him and say, "Are you working on something?" And he said, "Possibly." He plays games, and he's like, "Possibly." And I'll
Yeah.
say, "Okay, this." He's like, "What do you got?" And I'll tell him what I got in the last few days or whatever, and
Yeah.
he'll say, "Yeah, you're right on track. Yeah, we're going to a location to a walkthrough and this and that." But he won't tell me where. I have to basically describe everything, and it's a good exercise for me as well. So yeah.
That's awesome. Well,
Hmm.
listen, before we jump into your podcast, I want to show some clips of mine of some spirit responses that I got recently, and I want to get your opinion on them and tell me what you think. They're using a PSB7 just with a, external speaker, and I just want to hear what you have to say.
Okay.
The first thing that I'm going to show you, we were at a cemetery. This was about a year or two ago, and I asked if we should leave the cemetery, and this was the response that we got. Hold on one second. Let me scroll down to this. Hold on. Okay. Let me share the screen for you. Okay. Can you guys? Did you guys hear that?
Vaguely, very little.
Vaguely.
Yeah, very little.
Very little. Okay, hold on. Let me see. Hold on. Let me add to stream, and then hold on. Let me play it back. I know, right? Do you want us to leave? Would you like us to leave? How about that? A little better.
Yeah, yeah.
So, did
I,
you hear
I
the?
I
Do you
heard that loud and clear. Yeah,
It's like, you know what the thing is like it's in the same vocal tone, it's in the same voice over multiple sweeps. Like
right,
that is utterly impossible for that to happen. Like, I mean, it could happen, but like, what are the odds of that happening?
right, right.
You know, like, I mean, what is your opinion on it, Jay?
Well, I take the SP7 with a grain of salt. You know, I mean, I kind of would know more or less if it's radio or if it's a spirit coming through. I have a couple different spirit box like SV7 type boxes that I've used um, at a couple different places, and I did get one where I was in a parking lot of where I work, and this the one I got this, it was clear as day, and it was, you know, it wasn't really a radio or anything like that, because the first word I heard or phrase I heard and my buddy heard was strong warrior. And
Wow.
it just so happens that we were on Native American land,
Yeah.
so I knew that that was legit. You know what I mean? And then we didn't really hear anything else after that. You know what I mean?
That
Now,
is
the only reason why that is important to me, because I've been told before, when I was then going on an investigation up north and where in Wisconsin where I live, that we were going through an Indian land, and I kept hearing that strong warrior, you know,
mm,
as we were driving up there. So
yeah.
for me to be able to hear that 2 years later, there's something to that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, but yeah, I
No.
totally heard that at the cemetery that you showed, and it was clear as day, the same, you know, tone of voice. So yeah,
All right.
that was pretty cool.
Check out this one. This one is from a. So I went outside and I didn't do a. For some reason, I didn't do a video session. I did a audio session. I did an audio session with the audio recorder, and I asked, "Can you say global ghost hunt?" And all of a sudden, they come through and they actually say global ghost hunt. So hold on one sec. Someone said global ghost hunt.
Yeah,
Let me play it over real quick.
yeah, that's cool.
Someone said global ghost hunt.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You know, I couldn't believe it because when it happened, like I honestly was only outside for 3 minutes, and I literally was just like, hold on a second. I was literally just like, how am I like, I'm not gonna catch anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And all of a sudden, I review it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, they said it. And like I
right,
had to show Brian, I had to show everybody because I'm like, this is going to be a great promotional video for it, you
right,
know.
right.
So, but I want to show a newer one. Let me go back to this right here. Hold on. Stop screen. Share screen. Let me go to this. So, a spirit answers what heaven's like.
It's bright.
Were you able to hear that?
No. Mm-mm.
Hold on. Stop it. Were you able to hear that?
No. Uh-uh.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna play it one more time.
It's not even on the screen.
Yeah, there's nothing on the screen.
There's nothing on the screen.
Uh-uh.
No.
Hold on. Sorry. There we go. Sorry about that.
Truly, how full is heaven? It is awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome.
But I mean that wasn't really the clearest one. The clearest one that I wanted to show was let's see, this one right here. They like Robin receives a sign, a date of a sign. Robin, is it all right if I show this?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so check this out. I connect with his wife, who recently passed away, and I asked when his sign was gonna come, and check out what happens.
Truly, your mom and Robin and the kids want to talk to you. Will you talk to them through this? And please send Robin and the family signs.
Wow.
Now, what's crazy about that is that for if it's really like say if they really get a sign on Mother's Day, when they said the crown, they live in the UK, so the crown could signify the crown. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
So
Right.
I thought that was pretty cool to see.
Right. Right. No,
But
it is.
that was just a couple of them that I just wanted to show.
Robin, when was the last investigation that you went on?
Oh, now you're talking. It's been a while, obviously, because of everything that was happening. It was probably it was probably December,
Okay.
maybe maybe it started January. I'm not sure, but I mean, I've got loads of places to go to. I've
Oh
got
yeah, I bet.
honestly, I've got them coming out of my ears, and not only that, but the Celebrity Cemetery series that I do as well. I've got loads of them still to do.
Right.
So I've got a list that I need to get through, but it's just
There's so much.
well, it's whenever I'm feeling it. I mean,
Right.
I'm just
Yeah,
I'm
Right.
not. So
Right.
yeah.
Right. Right.
it might all change. You know what I mean? I might just go out to one and just have a look around and see if anything comes to me, because obviously I can do little bits, not obviously as much as yourself, but I
Right.
can
Right.
do little bits. So I can sometimes see and hear and communicate with them. So I might just that's how I might start it again. Is I might just go to a location, walk
Right.
around,
Right.
take
Right.
a lot of photos and stuff, and if something comes to me, then
Right. Right. Yeah.
you know what I mean, just sort of ease myself back into it again.
Right. I tell you that I was it didn't matter where I went or even if I was investigating. Um, I've always had spirits that basically could see me. And I think I was at a Wendy's restaurant. I was standing in line waiting. I was on lunch for this job I was working by, and I had this weird feeling behind me, and somebody pushed me, and I got this image of this short old lady, um, kind of, you know, mean looking, and I was like, seriously, this old lady just pushed me, and I went to turn around,
Oh,
and there was nobody there.
wow.
This was in a Wendy's. Well, come to find out that the property that the Wendy's is built on used to be an old farmhouse.
Oh, wow.
Used to be an old farmland and this and that before the industrial stuff came and took over the land and all that. Oh
Oh,
yeah.
that's pretty crazy.
So what I got was I was basically standing in her kitchen. You know, this is what the residual energy that she was like saying, like, what are you doing here? Because as soon as I was touched, I knew right away what this woman looked like and how tall she was, the whole 9 yards. So I whipped around and I was going to give her the what ifs, and there was nobody there. I was like,
Wow.
oh, yeah.
That
So,
would freak me out.
nah, that was like, okay, I just take that, like I said, with a grain of salt, whatever, you know.
Yeah. Well,
It
you're a
doesn't,
brave dude.
yeah,
You're a brave
it
dude.
doesn't freak me out. I've been touched where I work. I've been touched. I've heard voices. I've heard,
Yeah.
you know,
But
I
it
mean,
never
so
gets old. It never gets
no,
old.
no, it doesn't. It
I will
doesn't.
say one thing though, and keep this in mind. AJ, you know that I'm going away next weekend for a few days.
Yeah.
Well, where I'm going to, where Julie's family are from, it's literally 30 miles outside of London,
Oh,
and
Oh,
we
that's
might we might go in one day, and if we do, I'm going to try and get a location in London, or else go to a cemetery where there's like people like George Michael and stuff are buried there.
right.
that's awesome.
So if you do that, if you like try to do a live and like tune me in, and I can actually do a psychic walkthrough with your while you're doing a live. I've done that before too, where somebody's taken me on their investigation, and I've actually been able to tell them what's there, and
There you go.
without me physically being there, I can do it via.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
If I can get anywhere like that, because obviously the Tower of London, but it's one of them ones that it's very very expensive to get into, and you can't actually get a lot of the places in there that we want to go to
yeah.
for what we do. But you
Mhm.
know, any of these little back streets that have had murders in the past and stuff like that, or anywhere I can get to. I mean, I'm not saying we will go in because the last
Right.
time we were going, we did, but we're hoping to try and go in again this time. But if not, obviously I'll have other places I'll try and get to when I'm down there. Maybe this will give me the sort of get up and go and
Yeah. Yeah.
get back.
I really want to get to the to Europe. I would like to go to Scotland. I've got ancestral ties to Scotland, so um, yeah, I'd be like a kid in a candy store. You know, I mean, it's just there's so many different locations that are documented, and even some of the ones that aren't that documented, but people know about them through word of mouth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's ones like that that are more enjoyable because they haven't been tapped by
Absolutely.
TV. You know what I mean? Or they
Yeah.
haven't been oversaturated by so many different people. You know what I mean? So,
Amen to that.
mhm.
Amen to that.
That's a big problem. Especially here in the UK. Anywhere that we have that's really really haunted, that either Ghost Adventures have been to, or Nick Groff has been to, or our
Right,
own
right.
Most Haunted have been to, anything like that, and the
Mhm.
places that just charging that end to get in
Oh
because
yeah, yeah, yeah.
we've
That's
been on
yeah,
TV, so you're going to pay a premium kind of thing. And it's
right,
like, well, at the end of the day, we're here to
right,
prove what's here and what's not here. We're here to
right,
work together to try and bring our evidence out. Why
right,
are you know, why are you trying to limit it to certain people? You know what
right,
I mean?
right.
So
The best thing that Robin that I would do if I were you to kind of research that is to research some locations that are just in the books of history books that different places that people know of, but that aren't focused on. You know what I mean? And to,
Yeah.
read stories of this church here and this countryside. Has a lot of history and this and that, but nobody thinks it's haunted or nobody thinks it's got activity or whatever. Those are ones that I'm gonna tap that one. I'm gonna go investigate that one. Nobody's gonna know about it, but I'm gonna
Yeah.
bring it to the light. You know what I mean? I'm gonna
There you
bring
go.
awareness to it. Kind
There
of
you
like
go.
behind the scenes. You know.
Yeah.
So
Hey, well, Bill, listen, before we go, I want to talk about your podcast.
yeah,
So, Studio 6 Paranormal Entertainment is now on all podcast listening services. So, head over there and check this out, this episode on the go whenever you like, and all the rest of the episodes. I'm telling you, it's going to be an awesome ride having the podcast listening services so you guys can check out these great episodes after the fact with your favorite
yeah,
guest or, host or whatever it may be. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah. It's been a kind of an eye opener. I've being able to be on iHeartRadio and Spotify and and that I'd say thank you to AJ for helping me and getting me out there a little bit more, and I really am grateful. You know.
No, please. You're my brother, man, and I'm happy for you, and I'm glad that we were able to do it together.
Mhm.
And I just want to see your success push me so that I get success, and
Yep.
that's how it's supposed to work, man. You're supposed to, friends are supposed to motivate each other.
Yep.
So,
Yep. Yep.
but tell everyone a little bit about your podcast.
My Studio 6 Paranormal Entertainment is a podcast that I created a few years ago with my co-host Shane Feek. He is a science nerd, but he's also a paranormal investigator, but he's also a skeptic, so it kind of works out, it balances. We have great guests on our show. We've had a variety of different people, from mediums to authors to whoever. It just, whatever, just works. I mean, there's a lot of people that like the show and want to come on, and I'm kind of booked until April right now, but yeah, I'm working on getting new guests as I speak. So yeah, you could find me on like Twitter, and you can find me on Facebook and Instagram. So yeah, there's a lot of different places you can find the show. And it gets better out every time. I mean, it's just there's some things that that we have guests that come up with that we didn't think of before, and it's pretty awesome. It's been a good ride. So
Amen. Amen to that. So, and
The
we
one
got
thing I will, sorry,
a.
AJ, the one thing I will say to you, Jay, as well is, and this goes to any of our other brothers on there, that Matt Barron, Brian Laverty, stuff like that. I've been quite, AJ will verify this. I've been quite successful in bringing people onto our podcast, uh,
uh-huh.
especially people that you would think to yourself, that's a no. And so if you need any guests like that, just give me a shout, and I can point you towards them, give you details
Right,
for them. The most,
right,
anybody from Most Haunted in the UK, anyone like that, just
right,
give me
right.
a shout.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm
Um,
open to all. Anybody that wants to, that has great content or get a great story or great something paranormal or even a great book or whatever. I mean, I try not to be selective. I just whoever. You know what I mean? So I'm kind of open to that, and I think that
Cool.
that's just the way I am. But yeah, I will totally hit you up on that, Robin. That's awesome. I appreciate that.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, man, thank you so much for coming on. We're gonna have you on again for sure.
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you so much, man, for being a great friend.
Yep.
For motivating me during this time with the podcast. And I, just working as a team, man, has been great, and I look forward to the future.
Yeah. And you're welcome. And I want to thank you, and I thank Robin for having me on here. This has been a lot of fun. And thanks,
not a problem.
Brian Laverty. Yeah, I'll take you up on that. When you go live, just hit me up. So yeah,
Yeah, will
it
do.
should be interesting.
All right.
Yeah.
Sounds good, my friend. Well, hey, until next time, we'll talk to you soon.
All right.
All right. Bye,
See you
Jay.
Bye.
later, Jay.
Wow, man. So we had an awesome, awesome show today, man.
Nice
Like,
guy.
there's so much more to talk about. I didn't want to get into too much because I want to bring him back on and get involved in some of the stuff that he's really doing paranormal wise because he's a very smart, intellectual, human being who has a lot of ideas and who has a lot of motivation to get the
Yes.
job done. And I think that that's very important.
Yes, and not only that, but just for anybody that's watching as well, we're not going to bring someone onto the podcast who's going to be a great show and then try and cram everything into one episode. If the person that's coming on is a fantastic person with evidence, with stories, everything they got there, we will spread it out so as we can get everything that we want in.
Amen to that. Well, man, so thank you so much, brother, for joining me. I appreciate you once again.
I'm
And
back.
as always, you have watched another episode of Talking with the Source. Make sure to follow us on all podcast listening services now, from Apple Podcasts, Spotify, to iHeartRadio, to all of them, you name it. And also check us out on social media where we go live on streaming on 8 different locations on social media weekly, and just follow us. Hit the subscribe button on YouTube and love life. So, talk to you guys soon. Thank you.